to San Francisco, but it couldn't go across the bridge. You got off the train in Oakland. That's why Oakland was black. Pullman porters, they built the whole area around the train station called West Oakland. The war industry came and people moved from the South. Can you imagine you making, well, in the 60s, if you was making $2 or $3 an hour, or $3 an hour in the West and in the North, in 65 in Mississippi, you still made $2 a day. Yeah, $2 per day in Mississippi. And you got more money on welfare. They were saying they're bringing all these kids. I remember in 59, there was one lady, she got $400 or something on welfare in 59. She had 10 kids. Well, what if she was from down in Dixie? It would be insane to stay down in Dixie and starve to death. Go out to California, and shoot, you get $400. That was big money in them days, because Coca-Cola was a nickel or 5 or something. Candy bar was 10 cents, not $1.50 or something. I don't know. Anyway, let me speed up. This is the time. The U.S., London, low tide. USA, Trump, Britain, Boris the Clown. The clown. Can you imagine how bad the British people feel that this clown just showing his behind and having parties? And Prince Philip dies. He's been there long as his wife has. And she's been there since 53 as the queen. Good God Almighty, that's anybody's lifetime, right? 1953, you know when that was? 53 was Dien Bien Phu. Anybody know Dien Bien Phu? Dien Bien Phu, Vietnam. The French, defeated. Yeah, that's 53. That's 53. That was like so far back, nobody even, you have to be a historian to know where is it at, what did it do? Okay. Dream of our world, maximum use of human potential for good. Okay, if we think like that, if we believe like that, then that's what we'll do. Okay, we have to do that in front of everybody so everybody can see it works. You could do it. Everybody have to survive. We survived everything the government can throw at you for all of these years. So there's no excuse. Nobody can say, can't be done. They can't do that. They might say it, but it's not real because we've done it. And not only did it, but we did it with an attitude. Not mad, not paranoid. You know what I mean? Not mean. Let me just read a few more things. Rubicon, we're going to do more fundraisers. In fact, technically, we're having a fundraiser today if anybody want to drop anything. As-Sabiqun, Beyond Malcolm. High goals bring the best out of the Negro. That's our job. Everybody else is misleading them and bringing dumb stuff out of them. If you see them on the movies, what's these movies they have, TV programs where the Negroes acting a big fool, where they own everything, and Empire, stuff like that. If you even get close to that, they'll make this nigga mad, that nigga mad. They did it all our life, and then the East Coast rappers be killing the West Coast rappers. How they think all our guys got knocked off. They just came in with and spread rumors. Well, I got to kill that nigga, so the East Coast rappers killing the West Coast rappers and vice versa. That's what Tupac was getting too much sense. That's why they said we kill that nigga. Yeah, have another nigga kill him. Right? And that's what they do. They ain't worked with us. Now imagine when we laying all of that out to the people. Do not imagine us right now where boss man can pull this and pull that and cut the thing off and can't nobody hear. There will come a reasonable time, within reasonable time, when we will be getting our message out loud and clear at the right time and the right place. Let's see. So, tafweed is when you delegate all of your life to Allah, tafweed. And rida, we've talked about it before, right? We said radiyallahu anhu, that, you're pleased with. Rida means well pleased. You're pleased with what Allah gives you. We just happy as a lark with what Allah done hooked us up with. It's not just because it don't feel lonely that everybody's dead and gone and the people are still around. They're a little nervous. Everybody have their time and they do it. Now we have our time and we're going to do what longevity has its place. That's what King said. I always heard that. Longevity, and I liked what we talked to. Pete O'Neill used to talk about, when he talked about Chairman Mao, he said that is a protracted struggle. Protracted, long range, out over a long period of time. When you stretch stuff out so long, things get recycled and the recycled don't even know they're being recycled. Only you know, because what the people do, what the people act is recycled. And then Boss Man is a serious record keeper. Like, the things that got the Germans in all that trouble is everybody that they killed, they kept their name and they kept records, you know what I mean? Real good records. The slave master over here, he didn't keep no records like that. He put the niggas with the horses and the pigs. You remember that? If they wanted to find out who was who back in slavery days, you couldn't go and look in the family tree of the white folks. You would go and look at, we got 6, 7 cows. We got another cow named Callie. No, that's a lady. And then we got Hezekiah the Negro, right? It's not a horse, it's a person. And they got a little check by that. It means this is a nigger. And the other Hezekiah is a horse, right? I'm just saying that's the way, Now, if you know that, you're not spooked by it. Let me speed up. Nonviolent resistance, remember. And people do stuff. It's the people, when they call and they talking crazy, they trying to make you mad, right? They're stupid. They just say, you better put some sweetening on that, what you're telling me I better do. I don't better do nothing. But I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them because they don't know any better. They really don't know any better. And it's my job to teach them what's better and give them a big hug because they're repressed. Yeah, they don't have, you can see, they don't have good sense. After all that, they still calling me right in the middle of a program. It's insanity. And then, remember when I was in court and I said, do such and such a thing. Remember when I was calling you after I left the court in California? So, yeah, all right. Now, here's the nigga saying I'm bothering him and he's sending me this thing and he's sitting there holding a rifle. With all this stuff typed in, you better do this, you better do that. I could have beat all this stuff before, but I just saved it, take my time. But you can download this all you want and send it to anybody. So we'll have it extra stuff. Yeah, okay. Archivists, I hate to mention this again. Archivists to have the archives, to have the record. Documentalist, the documentation of all of this stuff. Chronicle is something you write, but a chronicle is also the record of. And historical. Our message, boss man is not invincible. Nonviolent resistance, East Oakland Enterprise, economic, This is something you haven't heard in a while, a few months, maybe a few years. Domesticated the system. We domesticated, like train the system. It makes no difference whether you believe it or not, but I'm sure it's easy to believe we've domesticated the system. We have clowned the system, or we'll continue to clown him. And we're clowning. And boss man is one thing, but the Zionist, we got his number better than we do boss man, although boss man been here all the time. That's rare, but we don't lose nothing when we deal with the Zionists. Nothing. Never have. We just slap them around, and that's who everybody else is scared of. So imagine how happy we make the people. Because see, like the Hadith say, just satirize the enemy. Satirize the enemy. Be like shooting arrows in them. Take fear out of them. Yeah, that's what we do. We satirize everybody, boss man, but it's easiest playing the dozens. It's something that Allah gave us. We can do it and it don't bother us. Like if they say, Imam Musa, you got 2 heads. So what? Like playing the dozens. Your mama will wear croquet sack drawers and high-heeled tennis shoes, stuff like that. Right? Well, that used to be pretty bad along there. Can you imagine? Now they do have high-heeled tennis shoes. In those days, they were just something that, you would say, And now they got them. Red tennis shoes, and where would you get red tennis shoes at? They got them now. Ben had them. Okay, I won't go over this whole little list here, but I will mention that as of now, this thing like to-do list, this is a to-do list, everybody should have one, things to do. A lot of the stuff that we talked about today goes on our to-do list. So when you go to bed at night, you fill out your to-do list, or you do it early in the morning. But it's best to do it at night. So when you wake up, you zoop, and you just get going. That's a to-do list. I just want to mention again, post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth. We have turned this, and we have studied this for a long time. We just mentioned it not long ago. But post-traumatic growth is different than post-slavery syndrome and post-something. What do they call that? Post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, or something like that. Okay. Now, we have post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth. That even from those tragedies, you can grow. We have used all of them to grow. Okay. Fun, childish, outside Juma, we'll put that on the, but remember, we've always had that on the list, doing Juma outside, but remember, it's 2 or 3 of us here, we can't do everything, but we will be able to. Okay. Outside Juma. Push public hearings for Congress, White House. All this stuff that's happening, we'll push it. And eventually they'll have to start having open hearings on it. And they got open hearings. They had open hearings on everything. But this is a harassment more. Spring offensive, what it looks like. Again, we started this offensive in the winter. People do a spring offensive because it's going to be nice weather, except for the wet roads, you know what I mean? But if you got big super highways, that's a great offensive. But if it's in the old days, spring offensive would get you ready for a big, technically, summer offensive. You would have to have the summer offensive over before winter. And this was two big historical problems. Both of them was in the same place. Can anybody guess what it was? Stalingrad. Napoleon in Russia and Hitler